Hello and welcome to this next installment of the Energy Hygiene YouTube extravaganza. I'm Josephine Thomason and I am here to offer some guidance in how to do it yourself, how you can maintain your own energy body in a good way in this time on this planet. It's a very energetically rich world out there. So today I am wanting to offer a bit of teaching around boundaries, and that's my goal that's what is feeling alive for me today, is just to help you understand what boundaries are and then how you can impact them through your intention. So to begin, we will start with what is a boundary. So just like your physical skin, there is energetic skin within your luminous bodies that is usually a kind of a subconscious installation, but it is not necessarily automatic. It is a choice to have a clean, clear boundary. It is something that you have to maintain yourself. Nobody else can do it for you. But the main thing to really understand is that this is a part of your energy body that is not necessarily automatic. Whereas like the energy centers, the pathways of light, the luminous bodies, all that is automatic. You can't not have it. It would be, it's possible to function without those, but with them in a very shut down position, but it is really necessary for the functioning of the body to have these energetic anatomy. However, the boundary is much more choice, and is something that you really need to learn to have, especially if you are a highly sensitive and intuitive person. A lot of times our energy bodies we don't have a boundary, sometimes purposely, sometimes not. But I would say for myself that when I learned to create good, clean, clear, strong boundaries, kind of changed my life. As a sensitive person, I was reaching a point of sensitivity where I couldn't really go to the grocery store without creating physical pain in my body, because I was, just too open. I was allowing the exchange in this energetically rich world in a way that was not healthy for me. But I didn't know better. I was just, getting more and more and more sensitive, which then was making me less and less and less functional. So I learned this practice in this way from Christina Pratt and her energetic cleansing process class. And I assume that giving props I know Christina wants us to practice, so I'm going to just offer it in its shortened form. And of course there's always more explanation and more exploration, but the biggest piece is really just coming to understand it and then coming to accept it as a truth, and then it becomes easy. So the boundary ideally is at the edge of your energy body. There's a nice, clean, clear, strong boundary that is also permeable in certain ways. There is give and take. There is a breath within it, but it holds most of what is not you outside of it, and then holds you inside of it. So it's very much like your skin, except it's like the skin on an apple or an orange in your energy body. And I personally also put a very bright and shining boundary on my heart space, because it is necessary to be protected in order to have an open heart. So having a nice, clean, clear, open heart requires heart protector energy that holds that open heart and allows for exchange, but not, it does not allow for, oh gosh, anyway, it allows for exchange. It doesn't like keep everyone out of your heart, It allows for connection, but it also protects you in a very big way. So that's the, where we're heading, and where most people begin is, there's often like cement in your energy field. The boundary is more like a brick wall, but only in the front, and the back's totally open. Or there'll be weird artifacts in your field that like allow certain people access to your energy body, things like that. And one of the really a very common thing is people having a shield within their field that is like, this is how I protect myself, but that shield is not really functional. It's just, it basically like keeps everything away. Everybody stay out there, stay away from me. And it can be, it's made out of many things, but often like our own, immediate reactions to feeling vulnerable is to shield ourselves. And that can, we want to protect ourselves. However, shielding, again, it's only in the front, so certain energies can still come in the back. And it's also tends to just push people away and not allow anyone else in. There is also, the bubbling up is a popular idea, and I really use that mainly when going into some super energetically rich places like, healthcare, mental health care places, or court, city court, if you get called down there, or anything like that is, you're feeling really vulnerable and you don't want to have that exchange. You don't want to connect with people in those environments. You're just like protection. So then you put on like the super reflective bubble up. And it is totally appropriate, and you don't want to live like that. You don't want to always be bubbled up. You want to have a exchange with the world and most people, especially people you really like. It makes it really difficult to connect with people. There is so much traffic and weird noises going on right now. I hope that it is fine. I'm just gonna try to ignore that, and we're just gonna keep going. So, boundaries, right? So the first step in a boundary practice is, again, like I said, to really understand that it exists, that it is a thing, but it's a choice, and it is a practice. It is something that you need to maintain in your own energy body. It is not something that you can, if you come see me and we do a session, I'll bubble you up or, reset your boundary at the end. But I can't do that for you all the time, and this is something that needs to be maintained. It's a energetic anatomy maintenance issue. How they can change your life, especially as a sensitive person. When I initially learned this and I really gave myself a really thick boundary, I put a cocoon around myself because I was just really suffering from my sensitivities. But what I found within that cocoon was that I also am a little bit nosy, energetically. And it wasn't something I was doing on purpose. I hold myself in compassion at the time. That was just, the reality of, the situation was that I was feeling other people's, that, they didn't ask me to. They didn't ask for my help. They didn't ask for anything. And I was still perceiving because I didn't have a boundary. I didn't have the ability to not perceive. So having a boundary can be a little bit like having an eyelid on your energy perceptions, right? So you can close it and open it, which is a wonderful thing. I highly recommend it. However, when I first did this practice and cocooned myself so thoroughly, I found that I couldn't hear anyone, and the thoughts of other people was part of the sensitivity. So I couldn't hear anybody. I was like, how's everybody doing? What's going on? After a good chunk of my life where that was just innate and constant, I didn't realize that there was something to do about it. So that's, I guess, why I'm offering this today, in case you are a sensitive soul on this planet suffering in that way. There is something to do about it, and you can treat it like your eyelids, right? And so you do definitely want to have an eyelid on your third eye, just allowing for blinking. You don't have to be always, doing like the third eye stare at everything. I don't recommend that, because it's really unpleasant, and it freaks other people out also, because they can tell that you're perceiving, and they don't always want you to. Often people are very guarded about their vulnerabilities, and they don't like to be perceived that way. So the boundary kind of creates an eyelid on some of those other, but on some of those other perceptual bodies. So there's, the eyes of that's another video of all the different types of perception and awareness. And so there are types that are coming, through your energy body. So putting a boundary on it helps it to be able to open and close, and you can open it purposefully when it's appropriate and when you're working, and close it when you just are out in public and it's none of your business how other people are feeling or thinking, or all of that. So yeah, the boundary is a really good practice for all of us sensitive souls, but also for everyone. I really I find that a lot of people, their energy body is just like, full of cement, and so they're beyond cocooned. They're like, cannot perceive anything, because they are so, they're not in a good space. So particularly in that way, it can be really helpful and relieving to a lot of the sensations around. So the next step of this is to do the meditation of exploring your energy body. And this first piece, we're going to just bring our awareness into the boundary and take notes, in your mind, but also if you have a notebook and you want to, you make notes about what you find, and just trust your perceptions and be ready to be surprised. I will speak to when I first did this. I found I had I did have a boundary, but it was big opening. There was huge opening within it, and other things, but that one, and that opening really was, for me, a connection to the earth, and feeling like I needed to be the one to save us all. I had a little bit of ego involved in that, and I just, when I found that and really felt into it, and flipped that over and admitted that that is not the best way to communicate with the earth, or anyone really, that I can make that call when I'm open and available and resourced enough to do the work to help Pachamama, to help the earth to heal. But I don't need to have just a huge hole in my boundary that allows everything in, along with the, deep grief and feelings of the earth. So that's just, what I found. So I'm giving you that as an example so that that you might find something interesting. You might find one that you don't have a boundary at all. You might find that your boundary is, a brick wall, like I said, or cement, or, like keep everything out in a really intense way, with little, holes in it to let only certain people through. That, it's not a healthy situation, but the first step is definitely to just perceive it, to admit it, to really feel into it, and then we can do the work to clear it up and give you nice, clean, permeable boundary that is strong and keeps most things out unless you want it to come in. So I highly recommend it. And so we're going to go ahead and do this meditation now. I recommend, don't look at me. So put whatever you're watching, you don't need to look at me. You're going to close your eyes. I'm going to close my eyes as I do this. And you're going to really give yourself to this process. You don't need to lie down unless you want to, but don't watch me. Just listen. Just use your ears. So we're going to begin by taking some nice deep breaths, as always, and just giving yourself permission to perceive, calling out to all of your perceptual bodies and calling out to your guides, guardians, helpers, those who can assist you here and help you every day. And calling that guide here to your heart space, to the center of your heart. Whatever form they take right now, just observe that. If you know your guide's great. If you don't, it doesn't matter, but just allow yourself your perception of what comes. And breathe deeply. And asking for help. Asking for help here in perceiving and understanding your energy body, your boundary space. And now making your perceptions like a little mini you at your heart, and with your guide and your protection, allowing yourself to walk straight out, like the mini you, walk straight out until you find your boundary, find out where it is. And once you find it, if it's there, begin a 360. You're going to walk and perceive, so scanning up and down all around you and walking all the way around your energy body and observing your boundary. What does it feel like? What does it look like, if that works for you, or if you hear anything, but mostly felt. And coming all the way around to where you began, and observing and making notes, allowing that to be interesting. Just be like, that's weird. That's just allowing whatever you perceived, and making a note of it. So I would encourage you to pause and just take a moment and write that all down, but I'm going to continue on with the practice. So once you have what you perceived, if there what you found. And I can't tell you what you found because you're you. And I will just speak to, I guess, that whole I was referring to. What I had to do was really, come into the acknowledgement of that big hole in my energy body, but then trace it back to my physical body where it was tied into. And the way to do that is to just sit and feel and ask, where is that keyed into my physical body, and what is the message? So again, once you ask that question, you're going to need to pause and sit with yourself for a while and really get the answer to what it is that, why that's there. So that's the interesting part of doing this on YouTube is, I don't know, you're going to be watching this wherever you are in the world at whatever time you do. So ideally, I would be in the room with you and we would breathe and you would feel it and then we can work through it. But since I can't do that part, I'm just going to encourage you to do it on your own. So the questions that you're going to want to ask is just, whatever you found. So examples that I have had reported back to me is there was a tube that was just for a specific person to be able to access their energy. And so, you need to ask, why is this tube here, and where is it, and who put it there, or did I put it there? What's going on here? There's a lot of questioning, so an inner conversation and perception. So you're just going to be perceiving your energy body and allowing whatever comes. So I give you those instructions and I ask you to do them. If you do need support, just, put it in the comments or something and I can, see if I can help you. Okay, so once you do that, once you find your way and you journal it out and you have the inner conversation, what happens now is that you address it within you. You address what is the cause of this shielding, this cement wall, this, all of the things that you may have found, and then you sit with it and you bring compassion to it more than anything. Just hey, I know that I put this here to protect myself, because that is the only reason that it would be there at all. So just acknowledging that and giving yourself lots and lots of compassion, allowing and asking for help for healing up any of those places. So keys to that are always breath and intention, compassion, bring in some source light, make sounds, let it move through your body until it releases. That is just, in a nutshell. And I know that this is, it's YouTube. I'm doing the best I can. Anyway, bless your heart for watching. So the next step then is to repair your energy body. And this, we're just going to do a general one. And what I find, this helps a lot for most things. And if you don't address the root cause, or it's just too deep at this time or whatever, it's only going to last for a little while. So you're going to need to, constantly be resetting your luminous body or your boundaries. However, that's fine. And it's not hard. So we're going to do it. And if you need help, like I said, I'm here for you. So breathe nice and deep. And asking for a clean, clear, strong boundary on your whole luminous body. And one way I like to do it is see my whole energy body spinning, and then have my guides come in with some source light that is in an icing bag. You know how you can frost a cake by squeezing in, just going like this, and as everything spins it gets frosted. it's like that. So I'm gonna give that visual to you because I personally like it. So it's like a golden, honey colored goo you're gonna let your guides help you with, and allowing your whole energy body to spin, clearing and cleansing and releasing any darkened, stagnant, ungrounded energies within your boundary, allowing your old boundary to dissolve now, and calling for a new boundary. Clean, clear, strong, all the way around. Whole bubble. So just starting at your crown and allowing with the spin, allowing yourself to be iced in that beautiful source light, letting it go all the way until it reaches your grounding cord, and go ahead and put a grounding cord or a boundary on that cord all the way down into the earth until you reach that earth flame. And I will explain that sometime soon. So just allowing yourself to be iced is is the gist of it. So so I do this practice whenever I work on myself, which is, a couple times a week. I clear myself, I do the full thing, and then I reset my boundary, because the boundary is often impacted by the world we're walking through. It often gets stuff stuck on the outside. Like for me at this point, it feels better that way, that it's like a barnacle on the outside of my luminous body instead of like all up in my heart. But still, I gotta wipe it off the outside. I gotta keep the energy body clean. So, yeah, that is the gist of it. I think I'm going to do another video on just the heart boundary and the heart protectors, because that's kind of like a whole other information. So I'm going to go ahead and say that's enough for today, because I feel like it is. And I hope you're doing great. I hope this helps you, and yeah, there you go. There's my offering for the day.